if God was to exist, it has to be on a higher dimensional plane. We know it exists. We know there is a high. We know there is a fourth dimensional. We know there's fifth, sixth. Who knows? Even an.
Okay, I'm gonna have someone else come up. Thank you. Richard Dawkins, or did he leave? All right, go ahead, Kalawala.
All right, so, you know, God, yeah. Where's like, do people believe that he's just chilling in the clouds, or like, or is he in some other area,
I'm not understanding
or
it.
is he just? Pardon?
I'm not understanding it because of your mic quality. Can you start all over?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is God just like chilling in the clouds, or like in space, or like where's he at?
What's up, guys? How's it going? Mooney here. I want to discuss on where exactly is God. Now, let's just say God was to exist. You know, I'm not saying he does, or she or it. I'm not saying God exists. But let's say God does exist. Where would God be? And I feel like I actually have a reasonable solution and answer on where would God be. So I'm going to make a quick video explaining that. Before I go over this, I want to describe on my stance on what is religion and what do I believe in. So I feel that I am a theist, that, you know, there is a God, you know, that is out there, that is the source of all creation, but I just feel like we don't know exactly, like, God as a whole. We don't have 100% accuracy on what is God. That's just my belief. I mean, I know there's a lot of religions out there that they feel like they know everything, but I just feel like us as people, as a third dimensional being, that we just don't have all the answers. But I do feel like I can describe on where is God. So here I go. So like I said about us being a third dimensional being, if we're a third dimensional being and we know about the second dimension and the first dimension, and we know about the fourth dimension, the fifth dimensional, then why can't God be in a different dimension? And this is my explanation how I feel like God is in another dimension. And it's described all throughout the Bible. It's described all throughout religion that God is all around us. You know, God can see all, God can do all. You know, it's so we can't really see him or her or it, you know, but he, you know, they're all around us. And there's different dimensions. You know, there's the fourth dimension, there's the fifth dimension. Who's to say God isn't in the fifth dimension? Now, I'm not saying, like, I feel like this is definitely true. I mean, of course, nothing is, you know, whole, nothing is 100%. You know, there's always factors, there's always things that's changing. Who knows? God could be, you know, forever changing as you know, as the planet and as the universe for changes all the time. Who's to say our God isn't changing? Who's to say God doesn't have a God? But I feel like definitely, regardless how you feel, I feel like God is in a higher dimension. You know, let's just say we're third dimension, and let's just say we was to visualize a second dimension. So a second dimension is laid out flat in front of us. We can see at all the angles in the second dimension. As far as our eyes can see, we can see the whole plane of a second dimension from the front and from the end. And what's to say the second dimension? You know, what's to say there's a creature on the second dimension? You know, they can see everything from a one-dimensional angle. You know, who's to say there isn't a being out there in the fourth dimension or even the fifth dimension that can see all our angles, can see all the aspects to our lives, and could possibly control it? I'm not saying God is just has our hand around, you know, the universe, and just, you know, just hitting things all the time, just controlling it all the time. You know, the universe could have been created by accident, all we know. But I do feel like there is higher beings on a higher dimensional plane. And, you know, who's to say, you know, will we ever get to this high dimensional plane? Maybe in the afterlife. I mean, who knows? I'm not saying that, but I definitely feel like God is in a higher dimension. But that's really the video. That's really what I wanted to talk about, and I just want to lay down this on what do I believe on it. I don't know, something quick, whatever. Now that also with Christianity and the Holy Bible, and they talk about Jesus, and he's so close to God. They describe as Jesus as God. Who's to say that that Jesus isn't a dimension between dimensions, like his existence, that he is a third dimensional being. His mother was a third dimensional being, but his father could have been a fifth or sixth dimensional being. And let's say if they was to have a baby, what does that make Jesus? Does that make him like a 3.5 dimensional being? Is that the reason why he can touch the other, like he could do otherworldly things that we can't even comprehend? It's possible. But I just want to throw that out there. There's always new theories, there's always new explanations. We don't have all the answers, but I do feel like regardless, if God was to exist, it has to be on a higher dimensional plane. We know it exists. We know there is a fourth dimensional. We know there's fifth, sixth, who knows, even an infinite amount, and we're still wrapping our head around the existence of these dimensions. But if it exists, who's to say there isn't creatures and life forms in this dimension? Who's to say there isn't a life form in the fourth dimension that who knows what it's doing? I don't know. I don't control it, but it is what it is. But that's what I feel is what's going on. So hope you guys enjoy this theory talk. And I've been talking about dimensions. I've been talking about the theory of whether God is in another dimension for at least a few years now, and I discuss it all the time when I'm talking to other people. But I just wanted to put it on the channel of how I feel about it. And that's it, guys. Let me know how you guys feel. I want to know your opinions on whether I'm right or wrong. I want to know your opinions on the existence of God, whether God does exist, whether God doesn't exist. Where is God? Why can't we see God? Can we see God actually? I actually want to know. I'm curious. I listen to debates all the time about this. I'm in some discords. Nobody really wants to debate, somebody just talking about dimensions, because there's a lot that we don't really know. But I'm curious to hear about your opinion. So that's it, guys. Sign off. Mooney. Love you guys.
But what's the difference between watching violent movies? I mean, we have so much violence on television now. How is that any different than playing a violent video game?
There is simply no concrete evidence that video games cause harm. Scores of independent medical authorities and scientific experts have found repeatedly that there is no connection between video games and real-life violence.
And that's the key.
Well, you have a very big problem that you're going to have to cross. How do you know that the future will be like the past?
I don't.
Well, then you can't say it's impossible for me to jump to the moon. Is it
I could say that.
impossible for me to jump to the moon?